everyone. Welcome back to K Talk, where we talk about all the hottest ongoing K dramas. I'm your host, Mel.
And I'm Uma. Hi, everyone. On today's show, we are wrapping up The Haunted Palace, episodes 9 to 16. What an amazing second half.
I know. I think I actually like the second half more than the first half.
You know what? It was equal for me. What I really enjoyed about this show was for 16 episodes, it did not lose its momentum. It didn't go off the rails. They unpacked everything perfectly. Like there were some twists that we didn't expect. It kept the same energy and vibe throughout.
Yes, I agree.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. And I was like,
and especially for a 16 episoder, usually they have episodes that drag,
Yes.
that you like, oh, okay, you might want to skip. But this stayed consistently good and exciting throughout the whole thing.
exactly.
Like,
There were no filler episodes.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so picking things back up, one thing that like tickled me was episode 8 kind of ends with the maternal grandpa being pissed off at the blind shaman, and he wraps him around in a carpet or something, and they're
Yeah.
beating him, right?
Yes.
So then episode 9 starts, and it's 13 years ago, and he's in a carpet getting his ass whooped again.
yeah. That shaman been raising hell from the beginning.
Yes,
Like,
and then what I liked about episode really like 9 was really quickly they let us know like how him and the grandfather like met, right? So the shaman apparently used to be out in these streets, and he was like kind of brainwashing little kids to do his bidding or something.
Yeah.
He was just wreaking havoc, and the grandfather was pissed off, and he was like, "Oh, I could be of use to you, like there's a spirit haunting the royal family." And that's the first time that the grandfather is like, okay, tell me more. And I think that's when their little partnership starts.
yeah. That man annoyed the hell out of me. Like, do you know how many people he used and just, you know what I mean? Especially with the Queen Dowager. Like, I felt so, I never thought I was going to feel so bad for her.
I
like,
know. Okay, let's talk about, okay, first him, then her, okay?
Okay.
I have so many thoughts about her too. Throughout this entire series, yes, the blind shaman, he is the villain, granted, but he was an annoying villain too. He's always cackling, like he was just a menace. He was unstoppable. Like how many times was he interrogated, arrested, and he always manages to slip out.
Yes.
He was really about that life. Like
I'm like, he should have been dead a long time ago.
right?
13 years ago, to be honest. Like,
No, so him, like, now the grandfather is like, what are you even good for? Because, he's not achieving his goal really quickly, because ever since Yuri and the Imugi show up, none of his spells are working. They still haven't managed to kill the eldest son.
yeah.
Right? So the grandfather is like pissed off at the shaman, and that's when the shaman snitches and he says, I could have already handled all of this, except Yoongap is not Yoongap. He's an Imugi, and Yuri is not like a lens crafter or whatever it is that she did.
Yeah.
She's actually a shaman. And the grandfather's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So he snitches. He gets
Basically saying they keep getting in the way.
exactly
You need to get rid of them. Pretty much.
horrible. But throughout the entire second half, I was like waiting for this man to die.
Yeah.
He just would not go away.
Yeah.
The Queen Mother.
Before that, let's talk about Yuri finding out that Genchol really wasn't the one that killed her grandmother. How did you feel about that?
I was we knew that.
Yeah.
But when she found out, I couldn't understand why she was upset until she said, I was relieved. And that made me feel ashamed.
Yeah. Because it left off of her saying, like, get away from me. Why am I, you know what I mean? Kind of fighting her feelings for him. And
Because she
remembering,
was
hey,
fighting those feelings, she wouldn't even admit it to herself. And I feel like when she finally found out, she was relieved, because that's when she just admitted to herself, like, I think I love him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great
And I'm
moment
so
for
happy
her.
that now that I can actually love him without guilt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I
God,
love
they're
that.
just the cutest. Like
They are.
just the way their relationship like evolved. Um, the
Naturally.
naturally. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel rushed. Like
Yeah.
they're just true partners,
Yeah.
and I really love that.
And then we found out the colossal shadow's true identity. That was such a sad story, actually. And low key, honestly, I understand. I
Made
understand.
sense.
It makes sense. Like, who wouldn't?
His reveal was like one of the saddest parts of
It
the
was.
second half. Like the entire village got burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And all because he was a loyal subject to the king at the time. Because he was like, I know we're trying to run away. Why don't we go to my hometown village is really close nearby. And then they realized, oh, they found out our plan. So he's like, let's go somewhere else. It was so diabolical of the king to be like, let's pretend I'm there, raise the flag so my enemies go and like ransack that village
And
so I can get away. And he was like, when he said his mom and his children,
his son,
his son was there, and he's like, and we got to make
in
sacrifices.
a time of war.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
what?
I was like, I get the shadow.
I literally do.
It's like, I don't even begrudge you all this, murdering that you're doing, all these souls that you're snatching.
Yeah.
Like rightfully you've been wrong.
Yes, but I just don't. The only part I don't understand is that I don't believe the current king should have to pay for the sins of his ancestors. I don't.
But I understand where the colossal shadow was coming from, because he was like, his line got wiped out. His children were killed. His mom was like, so he was like, I don't care. It was a promise that he made to the evil king at the time that I will make sure your bloodline ends.
Yeah.
And he stayed true to his word. He ended up killing the current king's dad.
Yeah.
And probably his grandfather before that.
Yeah.
And now he's going after his son and the current king.
Yeah.
But just the unveiling of his story was just, wow.
It was heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking. And then finding out like all the people that had passed away in the village were in him. So it wasn't just the shadow wasn't just one person, right?
It wasn't.
It was an entire community.
Yeah,
and like they're angry and
Yuri
hurt.
felt it. She was like, "This is not just him; it's the grief and the resentment of everyone from that village that he's holding on to." And yeah,
I know that
that's
scene, especially because the shadow also was dealing with a lot of guilt, right? Because he was like the shining sun of this small village, and that memory, that scene, that flashback that we see, or that memory that we see where they celebrated every time he got promoted, like within his career. Like he was like, oh, he's in the special forces, or he's done this, or now he's a sergeant, whatever. Yeah. Every time he achieved something, the whole village was around, happy for him, just cheering him on. And it was a family to him. It wasn't just neighbors.
It wasn't just about his mom and his son. It was people, the whole community.
Exactly. People that were happy for him, that wished him well, that genuinely were happy themselves with his successes. Like it was just such a tight-knit community. I understood his grudge 100%.
I did too. Like, but do you know whose grudge I didn't understand? And I'm kind of surprised people feel sorry for him. BB's punk ass. The only person, like, I feel sorry in that moment when he died for Gengchul.
Yes.
Because he lost his brother, you know what I mean? But if you think about it, the reason why he got killed was because he trusted Pung Sang.
Yeah, he got tricked.
Yes, and he was willing to sacrifice Yori. Are we forgetting that? Like, because he was jealous of their relationship and how much Gengchul cared for her.
He thought he was doing what's best for Gengchul. He's thinking that because Gengchul is in this human body now, that he's forgetting his priorities, which is to ascend.
Yes.
He's forgetting like why he was there. And I'm like, but people change. And that's one thing like I don't like. I don't care how close you are to somebody, like even just in real life too. Like it's my pet peeve. It's like the only people that you should think for and do what's best are children.
Yes.
Once somebody is an adult, do not take that person's autonomy away. Like, I don't care if it's in my best interest. If I don't want it, I don't want it. So BB pissed me off because who are you to decide what's good for Gangchul?
And secondly, you see how much he loves Yori. Had you got her killed, do you think he would ever forgive you? So at the end of the
but
day,
he said that, though.
he still wouldn't have got what he wanted. He would still lose. You would lose him anyway.
He was so deep in his like misguided,
Yeah.
attempt at like fixing Gangchul's life that he forgot. Like he said, I don't care, even if he doesn't forgive me. So this is something that's unforgivable, but yet you still went ahead.
Exactly.
And he did it for selfish reasons.
He did.
Because I think even though he was like, oh, I don't want my brother to like lose sight of what's important to him. And, I want him to ascend. I think a little bit was self-interest because Yuri was keeping Gangchul in check and he couldn't go around devouring as many souls as he wanted with Gangchul.
Exactly.
Remember when they stole her mirror?
Yeah.
That kind of rips up the talisman,
or they can see it.
Yeah, like it just makes it ineffective, right? Yeah. He was running around letting him devour like the old evil men, the noble guys, but I think that fueled more of BB if he wanted to be honest with himself. That's why he didn't like Yuri, because Gangchul was like, whatever Yuri wants, Yuri gets.
But
Yuri
to
says,
be honest,
do not
I didn't understand Yuri getting in between that as well, because they made it very clear we only devour evil older men. It's not good men. It's not whatever. I kind of understood on that part, but I also understood when she said, you are in a human body.
Now it's just murder.
Yeah.
You're not a deity anymore. Yeah. Like, you're not a god. Stop this nonsense.
Yeah. But I understand if you're saying the Gangchul, but I don't know. I would let him do his thing. BB, do your thing.
But BB couldn't do it himself.
Yeah.
And Gangchul was helping him. And I think that's where he was honestly more pissed off about that.
I think so too.
Then I just want like Gangchul to remember he's
like,
not
no, we got to get rid of this girl.
He was just feeling lonely. Honestly, he was starting to feel like the third wheel too. So there was a lot of self-interest in that, even though he was trying to wrap it up in, oh, I care about Gangchul. I want Gangchul to, and like stay true to himself.
Yeah, and that's why his death didn't really affect me like that. I felt bad for Gangchul and the way he took it, like he literally
and when he was mourning and,
And he couldn't explain, the feelings were so intense and it was hard for him.
That was the first time to, like he's human, right? Like he was like when he said my chest aches, I was like, poor Gangchul.
I felt sorry for Gangchul, but
Gangchul lost his appetite.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how you know.
That's how you know. Yeah. And I was like, oh. But yeah, BB did not care for it. And another person's redemption I did not care for, Queen Mother.
Actually, I loved her growth.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I loved her growth because she actually, like, when she went before the king and admitted and said, you know what, Pang Song tricked me. Mm-hmm. He's the one who took my son from me because I trusted him. Mm-hmm. And that's why I lost my son and I shouldn't have. And I apologize. So I actually respect that she could do that. And from then on out, she was very, like, loving and stuff, like the way she protected the eldest prince at the end and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
I see all of that.
Yeah.
But what I can't get past is you wanted your son on the throne, got the shaman to start putting these little curses and trying to get rid of the eldest prince, okay? Would she be Team King now if her kid was still alive?
Very true.
That's why I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you see that you were wrong. I mean, what made you start to begin with? Why couldn't you just accept the fact that your child is never going to be king? That is not, it's just the birth order.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, she could have accepted it.
So what I don't think was addressed enough for me was, why was she a shitty person to begin with?
Yeah.
But after you realize the shaman tricked you, and they say, like, when you put curses on somebody, something bad also happens to you. And she realized her son was a sacrifice for the shadow to grow stronger and bigger.
Yeah.
Had you not started and engaged in this tomfoolery to begin with.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, oh, it's easy now to be sweet and loving because your son was taken away from you. Like, I just feel like if he was alive, would she have apologized to the water ghost? the girl that her son raped,
Yeah.
would she protect the prince?
Yeah.
Would she come clean about, all the dealings that she had with the shaman?
But let's be real. We've seen evil characters where they don't change. Even if they realize, hey, my son is no longer here, they kind of continue and don't care and get even more vengeful.
Yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So that's what I mean. The fact
okay.
that she didn't continue to be more vengeful and stay and become resentful and be like, you know what I mean?
And just
yeah, she
like,
kind of let it go. You know what I mean?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
The part with her that I liked with her and Yuri was when Yuri lied to her and said, there's something very important that your son left behind for you, because Yuri was such a kind-hearted person that she was like, she might do something bad now that she realizes she pretty much caused her own kid's death. Yeah. So she had to give her like a job and be like, if you pray for him, we'll help him escape from, the shadow's clutches, and he'll pass on to the afterlife. So I really like the fact that she gave her a little task to do. And when the little ghost kid was like, that's not true, she was like, stop it.
Yeah. She just wanted to give her some type of ease.
Something to feel like she's working towards, to kind of like make up for all the wrong that she had done and to help her son pass on peacefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I get all that, but I was just like, you were just a shitty person, unprovoked to begin with.
Like I said, she could have continued to be a shitty person. So I respect her for that.
That she found
and
herself.
The fact that, she could have still hated the eldest prince. You know what I mean? But she didn't. But she protected him. And I respect that.
That's so growth,
true.
Let's talk about Yoon Gap coming back. Because as we were watching, I was thinking to myself, see, this is another reason why I freaking love this show. The Yoon Gap coming back into his body, they could have dragged that out. But I love how, it was maybe wrapped up in like 2 episodes. Yeah. Maybe even like
or
1.
Less, yeah.
So the shaman releases Yoon Gap from the shadow's body or whatever. And now Yoon Gap is roaming around the village, and he can clearly see Gangchul and Yuri
living his best life in his
living their
body.
entire best life. Okay, his mom is happy, feeding, cooking. They're just a little happy family.
He's best friends with the king.
Oh my God, yes. And he was like, this. He has everything
that I wanted,
that I worked so hard for.
Yeah,
he took it away from me.
Can I say how loyal Yuri is? Because when she was talking to his shadow, and I think he tried to touch her face, she kind of like went back.
Oh, she flinched. She was
flinched,
like,
we're not.
She's
we're
like,
not
I don't feel that close to you.
We're not like that.
I know you're not Gangchul right now.
And I see people referring to him as her boyfriend. They never got that far, him and Yuri. Like, they never solidified an actual relationship.
Yoon Gap or Gangchul?
Yoon Gap.
Oh, Yoon Gap didn't even tell her he liked her.
That's what I mean. So when people act like, that was, they weren't together.
No, they weren't. No. Like, they liked each other and they didn't tell each other yet.
Basically, yeah.
Right? So Yoon Gap comes out now. He's starting to harbor feelings of like resentment, feeling like his life was stolen from him. He's angry that Gangchul is running around. The shaman wants to use that against him and gives him the task of, what was it? What was that thing that he gave him? The little bottle
of alcohol.
Yes.
Yes.
With the fire spell in it or something to kind of, render that stone useless, that spirit ward stone that they had. So we see him wavering.
Because he promised him that he would get him back in his body.
Stay in it. And he did, though. He did, right? Yeah. Like, they trick Gangchul in the dumbest way, too. Because I was like, put food in front of that man. He forgets everything. Yeah. Just eating with one of the noblemen.
Literally, and then he invited him out to eat.
Exactly. Meanwhile, his entire energy is being zapped because he's pretty much in like a sauna-like room. Yeah. Right? So he successfully gets Yoon Gap back into it. And Gangchul and Yoon Gap now are in the same body.
Fighting in the body. Yeah.
First of all, how great was that scene? He did such a good job.
Yeah, just flipping back and forth.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, that was really well done. Yeah. I'm like, he nailed it. But we see Yoon Gap. And he's wavering now. Because at first he was like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. I would never harm the king. Yeah. And then he goes back home and he thinks about it some more and he's in pain. He tries to do it. Doesn't happen. Gangchul's like fighting in his body as well. But do you believe when Gangchul told him, when he stops himself right there, when he was about to pour it on the king's stone?
And Gangchul said that was actually you.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. For a second, I was like, Was it, or is he trying to just ease
his mind and be like, it's okay.
Because
You're
I 100%
human.
thought it was Gengchul.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Gangshul said it wasn't me, but I think 100% it was.
I think he was just trying to
personally
be
think
nice
that.
and
I
just
think he was
trying
trying to
to
be nice and be
yeah.
like, you fucked up, but like,
And he knows
we're
how
gonna send you.
how noble he is. So it was like, let me.
He had a tiny moment of weakness.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very sweet. But the way they wrapped it up really quickly,
Yeah.
and they didn't drag that on.
But also, I was like, why are you? Gangchul didn't ask to be put in your body. It kind like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
don't be mad at him.
And he preserved your body.
Basically.
Like had he not been like jumped into your body, like you'd be dead. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't even have this chance to even get back into the body. So I'm like, it's misdirected. It's like, I see, and he naturally won these people over. You can't be mad at that.
Exactly. And I loved how like the 2 days that like Yoon-gap was in control of the body, like the chief eunuch was like, oh, how could that bastard Imyugi just leave us without saying goodbye? And the king is like reminiscing. He's like, oh, I guess they all were like, they were sad to see him go. Yeah, as much as they like Yoon-gap. Yeah,
because as much as Yoon-gap, like he was more just like very loyal, very whatever, but like he didn't have the personality. Let's be real. Gangchul won these people with his personality naturally.
And like, even the king himself was like, Gangchul is like the first real friend that I had because everybody's so in reverence of like the king and minding their P's and Q's, but he treats him like a regular person, and I think that made the king feel human,
exactly,
and like less alone. And
he knows that Gangchul will always tell him the truth. Like he's not gonna hide anything from him, like because he's the king. Like
and I love the 1-2 times that like Gangchul will be like, yes, sire, or something. He's like, oh, so you do have manners. Yeah. Oh, so you do know how to speak properly to me.
Yeah, it was so
and
funny.
He's like, whatever.
And that's one of my favorite scenes when Gangchul tells him, like, there's not many human beings that I think that are like good people, but you are one of them. That literally made me cry.
And it stuck
and you could see the tears in the king's eyes too, because he needed to hear that.
He needed to hear it. Yeah. He wanted to know he's doing a good job, that he wants to be a good king.
And he knows that if it's coming from Gangchul, it's real.
Like, it meant so much to him.
Yeah.
Because the fact that memory comes to mind when Yoon-gap praises him for the
slave bill.
Yeah, the slave bill. Even though Yoon-gap says really nice words to him, it didn't hit like when Gangchul was like, you're a rare human being. Like, he remembered those words in that moment, and it made him miss Gangchul. And I was like, they're besties.
That made me cry.
But like, Yoon-gap could see that though, and that's what kind of, started the resentment.
Yeah,
like,
that's what pissed him off.
He could see.
That's what I'm saying. With his own, he's in your body, but he's winning these people over with his own personality.
Exactly.
And he's literally the opposite.
And you can't begrudge him that.
And he's literally the opposite of Yoon-gap.
Yeah, he's big fun.
Yeah, he is. Like, he is.
Come on.
And the fact that he won over everyone, from the chief eunuch to the guards, like everyone loved him.
They sure did, honestly. But yeah, I like the fact that they wrapped up that part really quickly, and the shaman's like, back to the drawing board.
And the funny part is, we said that in the first episode of Haunted Palace. We said, we just want her to find his soul, send him off,
and set him
peacefully,
free,
and just live your happy life with Gangchul. And she did.
She did, right? She did.
She did.
She didn't even want him back at that point. She was like, sir, let me help you cross over.
She was like, don't even touch me. I found my man.
Let
like,
right?
Yeah, but I love that.
So that's the pacing was really so good, honestly. It's like all these new things would pop up, but it was well done. They wrapped it up. Nothing dragged on. It was awesome. And another relationship that I liked that kind of like tickled us in the first half was how her and the water ghost.
Yes.
We were like, are they besties now? And then in the second half, she's trying to send her off after she gets her apology from the queen mother on behalf of her son. And she's like, I just want to stay. And she's like, but why? And she's like, I just want to hang out with you a little bit more.
I laughed so hard at that.
I was like, she's so cute.
She is.
The ghosts don't want to leave. The little boy didn't want to leave. Like,
yeah, that was so cute. She's like, I just want to hang out with you a little bit. Like,
right?
But what do you think of Lady Sion?
Who's that again? Is that the noble girl?
The little beggar girl. Yeah, that begs for Gangchul.
God, I was getting so like secondhand embarrassment for her.
Yeah.
One of my favorite.
I still don't understand her purpose. Again, like I said in the first half, if she wasn't in the show, it wouldn't make any difference.
Listen,
Like,
without her, we couldn't get that scene where Yuri was jealous and she was like beating the clothes, I guess,
Yeah.
to beat out the creases. Remember where she comes and she gives him sweets, and because at this point they're like together, like,
yeah.
you know, they've kissed, like everything's great, like they know they have feelings for each other, and he's eating the desserts that the other girl brought for him. He's chatting it up with her, and the whole time though he's keeping one eye on Yuri, and she's clearly pissed off.
Yeah. Mind you,
That's the reason why she's there.
Sion was being very disrespectful to, like, can you give us a moment and stuff.
And that's why he checked her, and he's like, never speak to Yuri that way.
To be honest, if I was Yuri, I remember that day. I don't think I would have, when she got possessed, I don't think I would help her. It's like, ma'am, remember all that
You're
shit
on your
talking?
own.
Yeah.
Nah, Yuri's heart is too pure for that.
It is.
But you know what? I like how she came around. Like,
She did.
I think she was there for us to kind of, like, you know, to give them a little tension,
Yeah.
to make it a little bit more fun. Like, the dynamic of all three of
Yeah.
them. Like, we love a good love triangle.
Like, I love when she flexed her ring.
Oh, the way
what-
she was like,
Yeah.
and she's like, you did that on purpose, like, to show me. And she's like, well, he gave it to me because we're not like brother and sister anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
go off, Yuri. You've been dying to say that, right?
Yeah.
And towards the end, when she did it again, but now she had a second ring
ring.
because they're about to get married.
Yeah.
But how fun and adorable was that scene when she was like, I made you a talisman to, like, find you a good husband,
Yeah.
a lifetime of happiness. And the little lady kept it real. She's like, can you make me one where he's good looking? I'm more into looks.
That's all I care about.
I don't really care about for a life.
Yeah.
A life of happiness. I
Yeah.
was like, keep it real, girl.
She
She's like,
did.
I like a good, pretty face.
Yeah. And then her daddy had some issues. Like,
First of all, him, like, trying to hide that history.
yeah.
And when the king called him out on it and said, one of your sins is not trusting me.
Exactly.
Like, not trusting me and believing in my character is why you were so scared that you committed murder.
Literally killed a man.
Exactly.
And that was the one-legged spirit.
Yes, that's been
That
hopping
went- that went-
around.
yeah, that went
from
into
the
his
very
daughter.
beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because I don't think we knew in the beginning who this spirit was and why he was around.
No,
Then
we just see that she's a shaman. She clocked that spirit, and why that in the beginning there was this other girl that he had possessed, like another noble girl that he had possessed.
Yeah.
That Yuri helps to pull him out and, like, you know, heal. But we never heard his story. But when he came back, now we know. So basically, like 100 years ago, when the village was burnt down and the king had used his people to protect himself.
Yeah.
What's his name? Was it Ji-hoon? No.
Who?
Was it Ji-hoon?
Who?
The noble guy that killed the spirit, the hopping spirit.
Wanhu or some Wanho. or
Wanhu,
something.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, so his great grandfather had, like, written down everything. So he's been hiding that. And didn't want that to see the light of day, where he could have just taken it to the king and been like, this guy's trying to blackmail me.
Yeah.
Arrest him for extortion.
Yeah, because it wasn't your doing; it was your ancestors.
Yeah, he's trying to
so,
exactly,
yeah.
but he was trying to protect the family and, like, because I think he's like cousins or something with the
Yeah.
king. But either way, like,
you killed a whole man for that. Like,
I
and
know.
Again, I'm not mad at these spirits.
You know what
like,
I don't
every
remember?
time the spirits, like, I agree. When you hear their stories and why
they were all wrong. That's why they
all
were just
wrong.
hanging around wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing, though. What did the grandfather threaten that guy with to make him leave? Because remember, he was headed to the palace to help the king with, like, the slave bill and then he just turns around and leaves. And the king's like, you just left.
Oh,
What did he threaten him with? Because I'm like, did the grandfather know the history? Did he know the book? I kind of missed that part.
I don't remember that part either. Yeah.
But his story, again, like, yeah, his daughter's
I
running
also
around.
love that he came around and he asked for forgiveness from the spirit, and the spirit was able to finally rest too.
Absolutely. Like, when he finally
Because
was
remember,
able to see him.
getting these noble people to literally, that's a big thing for them.
It
You know
is.
what I
They
mean? Because they're
were-
just lowly people, and it's like
that
look
had
at-
no power.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to acknowledge that, you know, they've been wronged. But he did come to his sense. Like, him, because he killed him accidentally, I believe in his redemption more
Yeah.
than the Queen Mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he ends up like saving the.
But let's be real, because he's a noble, he could have still been arrogant with it. Like even if it was an accident, but the fact that he did humble himself and apologized.
True.
Yeah, you know.
But that was such a heartwarming scene to see. So I was like, fine, you're not that bad, I guess. And even the king knows, right? Like, shit happens.
Yeah.
That's why he just gave him some lashes and, like, you know, didn't sentence him to death.
Yeah.
But can we talk about how the grandfather is so misguided in his attempts that he actually tries to go at the shaman as the shaman is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I love the fact that the table's reversed and now he's scared of the blind shaman because from time to time the shadow goes in him and he can see all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's just like fucking shit up and beating people up.
Yeah.
But the grandfather now is like super scared of him.
Yeah.
And he's been like put in his place. But I liked how that came to light really quick too, and they wrapped that up really quickly. I thought they were going to take that all the way to the end. I thought the grandfather was going to stay till the very end.
You know what I don't like? The fact that he just banished him. I don't like that.
The king is tender-hearted, okay? And he was like, I'm going to take this man's assets, his titles, basically everything. Because remember, you're at the top of like society and all of a sudden it's like you're nothing.
Yes, I get that.
And you've been
but
exiled.
Had it been anyone else, it would have been death.
At the end of the day, that's his grandpa.
I don't give a damn.
I know,
don't
but the
care.
king is like, I'm just, you know, I feel like honestly,
I think that hurts even more so because you're my grandfather. How could
true.
you? You know
but
what I mean?
Punishment-wise, though, I think death would have been too easy for the grandfather. I think a life of exile, because he's so power hungry and money hungry, taking all of those away from him and living like a beggar almost, hurts the grandfather more.
And then, as they're escorting him out,
he gets freed. He manages to escape, only to be killed. Right away.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they wrapped up his story too. Like, goodbye, sir. We don't care for you.
And that's when I was satisfied. I'm like, this is what you needed all along. Because I feel like he would never stop. Let's be real.
He would never stop.
Even if he got banished, he still has his people.
He would find a way.
He would find a way to come back.
Where are these assassins coming from that are so brazen? Like, even if when they see the army or the king's soldiers.
Exactly.
They fight back. And I'm like,
so I don't think he would have just
where did he get the secret army from?
Yeah, so I don't think he would have quietly just went away and just lived the simple life. You know, he would find a way to come back.
True.
And he would have been resentful towards the king. And
he would have been.
I'm glad they took him out.
For sure. Another part that really stood out for me too was Yoonggap's mom thought he had amnesia because of his near-death experience. And that's why she was accepting her son wasn't like how he was before.
So I called it right. She didn't know that it wasn't her son.
I thought, this is the part that I found I was slightly confused. I'm like, did she know all along? Or did she realize, because remember, he gets into this accident. He wakes up. He's Gang Chul's personality. The mom's like, this is not you, but I guess you know, you have amnesia or whatever, or a near-death experience, but I'm going to take this and hopefully your old self will come back. The day he wakes up as Yoonggap, she's like, oh my God, my son is back. But then when he leaves, she talks to him in a way of like, it's like she understands now. So has she known all along?
That's what I mean. The way when he came back to Yoonggap, it's like, oh my son. The way she reacted, it was like she knew that it wasn't her son this whole time.
And that's what broke me, was like the way she had to send her son off, just his spirit, while physically seeing his body there. Yeah. But Yuri was a real one, because she's like, pack up your stuff. It would be torture for us to stay.
Now that she knows.
Now that she knows that is not her son's soul.
And that was so cute. And then she found them at the little tavern place. Like,
and she's like, come back. And
what are you guys doing? Like,
and okay, Gang Chul is so extra, because he was like, why she wait till the middle of the night to bring us back? And then she heard him, and now she's starting to give it back to him too, right? And she's like, well, why did you pick a tavern that was so far away from town?
And she walked so far.
She was like, I've been looking for y'all all night. It's not like I just made up my mind now to come get you. Yeah. But now they have like this little back and forth, you know? And he's so out of control. One of my favorite lines is when he sees that she's wearing the jade pin, that he gave her. And she clocks that he noticed while they're eating. And she's like, what, do you think it's weird? And he's like, well, I thought it would be like putting lipstick on a pig. He's like, but I could see I was wrong. And I'm like,
he just says anything.
What a backward ass compliment. Like, he's so ridiculous.
But that's why people love him.
I know. He just says anything that, like, he has no filter.
Yeah.
Right? That's what makes him so lovable. Like, he'll help you. He means well, but he's just rude.
You know what I wasn't expecting? The queen to die. Oh, that really broke me.
Here's the thing. I don't know. Is it because I can't trust that things will just turn out well? And I'm like, so somebody's got to die here. We're coming towards the end, and I'm like, who's going to die?
I honestly thought she was going to lose the baby, but I thought she was going to make it. Like, that's what I thought.
She already lost the baby the first time. She can't lose the baby again. Like, it would be redundant at this point. But I did not see her death coming. I thought somebody else, maybe the king. I was like, maybe the king.
Yeah.
He's too nice.
And that's what I loved about this show. Like, no one can predict that what was going to happen with the queen.
But listen, the way he loved that woman.
Oh, my God.
And the way,
the way he cried and the way he said, I don't even care if you save the baby. I want the queen. Like, save her.
And the guy's like, sorry, like, it's just not possible. Yeah, it's just not possible. But he was so heartbroken. That was super sad. I did not see that coming.
But that goes to show just what type of man he is.
Yeah, and I didn't see that coming because, remember, they made a big deal about him giving her the stone.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, you know? So I thought the stone was going to work. And that's when we find out that the shaman recruited some of the eunuchs.
Yeah. And he did it.
And they did it.
Yeah.
And Chief Eunuch was so disappointed. He's like, I raised you.
You literally. It's like, how dare you? Like,
he was like, he wanted to murder him right there.
Because now, as an extension from me, now it looks like I'm disloyal to the king.
Exactly.
You know
like,
I mean?
I had a harm
I vouched for you
in killing the queen, essentially. It's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Where did I go wrong in raising you?
Literally.
But that's the other thing. This blind shaman would not
stop.
Stop. There was, you know, the scene where, what is he, at what point? Because he's been, like, arrested so many times. But every time that he's always saying his little spells and he's always whispering, you know, there was a time that Gangchul was fighting with the shadow. And in his little den or cave place, the shaman is, like, reading his little spells and trying to, like, strengthen the shadow from afar. But we have Yuri here on the floor right next to Gangchul as he's fighting. And in my mind, I'm like, can you start reading some spells too? Like get on the job. Do as much as, like, the shaman is doing.
Yeah. Another part that pissed me off is when Yuri finally got him. She summoned the fire reaper.
Wait a minute.
What?
Start from the beginning. Can we just talk about when she decides, like, enough is enough, we got to do the last resort, and she dresses in the all black.
Oh my God, she looks so badass. Like, she took my breath away when she opened that door.
Right?
And she walked in
hat,
with
the veil. I was like, she looks strong.
Literally.
Hot as hell.
Fuck. Oh, she killed that look.
Her face, like, oh my God. I was just...
Speaking of faces, I don't know about you, but when the spirit possessed the king again, it was a whole look. Like, it looked like he had the high blush going with the smoky eye.
Seriously.
I'm like, damn.
Because every time, the funny thing is, literally, the king showed up with a light beat.
He did.
Okay?
He
And
did.
at one point, it looked like he had blush blindness. But then
He did.
Because it was, wow, the contouring, hello, the eyeliner, excuse you.
The smoky eye and the blush.
And then the funny thing is, as, like, when he first gets possessed, it's like one cheek has blush blindness. There's, you know, it's contoured, the eyeliner. The longer he stays possessed, the deeper the beat is getting.
Yeah.
It's like light to full.
Yeah.
I said, excuse me, at this point, just whip out the hair.
I'm like, oh no, the king is serving looks.
And then did you see, like, the hair's all frazzled, the wisps were coming out. I'm like, oh my God.
It was a whole look. Like, go ahead, king.
Okay, but here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. This is what I've been telling you. I know that, like, you haven't seen Kim Ji-hoon play, like, sexy, like, psychotic villains. That part when he became the evil king, and imagine a whole series, an entire drama of that.
Yeah.
Like, that man was...
He's an actor, because the fact that he could be so warm-hearted and
That's
so
what I'm
kind,
saying.
like, I can't even imagine him. And well, now we could when he got possessed, but still, like, it was so hard to imagine him evil. Like,
listen, okay, Death's Game, he is a menace, and he's just doing all sorts of like evil shit. Like, I'm telling you, this man could be like chopping up a body, and I'm like, me next, please. Like,
yeah.
Wow. But you ain't never lied about that beat. He was just getting,
Like I said,
I guess he was supposed to be like dark and like sexy and like, you know.
But that was a whole lot.
So you're like, we hate you right now, but you look great.
Yeah. But Yuri killed that scene. And then while she called on this little spirit reaper, she got him like
chained up and everything.
And you know why I was mad? Because while she was doing that, what were the chief eunuch and the other military guard guy? They should have been dealing with the shaman.
That's what I was thinking
pissed
to
me
myself.
off.
I'm like, it should have been like, you know, 2 simultaneous attacks.
Yes.
Because you have to understand, the shadow is as powerful as he is because of the shaman. So hunt him down.
Yeah. So while Yuri is doing this, they should have been dealing with him.
But look what he was doing. He was in his cave, strengthening him
Literally.
and reading spells from afar. And so that it doesn't work out. So he gets super strong as his power was dimming. Yuri was doing what she needed to do. His power is dimming. The shaman is helping him by lighting the fires.
I was screaming, "Where is the guard? Like, somebody
Where's the guard?
get
Somebody
him."
go stop that man, right? And then he unshackles himself. He gets stronger. And then Gangchul shows up. He basically like hits Yuri. She flies across the room. But then she's just watching the fight play out. And I'm like, get up and start reading some spells like the freaking shark.
Yeah.
It's pissing me off. I'm like, girl, you better summon something.
Because him and Gangchul were fighting for a minute.
Yeah. I'm like, you better summon something here, please.
Yeah.
But
then he turns back on Yuri. Gangchul eats the flowers.
He's like, I'm ready.
Oh my God. And then he did the whole thing, used up his thing.
Boom.
Oh, I was the edge of my seat.
I know.
Because I had a feeling one of them was going to die.
Yes.
I just had a feeling.
That's what I thought.
Because especially that scene when they're both saying, like he said, I'm going to go back and get the mom.
And she like waves to him.
I was like, oh my God, someone's going to die. One of them. Like, they got me so good with that.
Me too. We're so triggered to expect sad endings.
No, but it looks so like someone's going to die. Someone's not going to come back.
I know. It was very, very sad. But so they kill off the shadow. They defeat him, and Gangchul just, you know, essentially dies.
They put him in the coffin, wait 3 days.
They didn't put... That was a surprise to me because I thought he was still breathing, I guess, but he was depleted from using all his powers. Like, I didn't know what to expect here, right?
At one point, because he was just in bed.
He was just in bed.
Yeah,
but then we find out, like, they wait 3 days in the hopes that maybe he'll wake up, which he did.
Mind you, that's why I love this show. I really thought he was dead.
They put the lid on and everything.
Yeah.
There was even a moment where Yuri, like, paused as she's putting the sheet over his face, like,
yeah,
okay, fine, it's been 3 days. Like, and they put the lid and he starts rattling and they're like, oh, and he's like, what are you guys doing to me? But
yeah,
I thought something else that threw me. If anything, I thought when he exhausts his power and the little pearl thingy is gone, is extinguished, I thought that Yoon-gap's body would die and somehow the Imugi in his old form might come back.
it would not hit the same. Or it would
no,
not.
let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. Okay, that's what I was thinking because I was like, they cannot. I was like, Yoon-gap spirit is already gone. I'm like, maybe if anything, his body will die too, and she'll mourn for a little bit, and then somehow, some way, we'll just see like the Imugi in his old form come back. But then you're right. Then I said to myself, I just don't want it to be a sad ending because it wouldn't hit the same because now it's like we've tied his personality to Yoon-gap's shell. It wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But in my mind, because I wanted him to live so badly that I was trying to figure out, like, how else could he reappear?
But they knew they couldn't, because it literally would not hit the same. Let's be real.
It would not.
A part of why she's so attracted to him is the fact that he has Yoon-gap's looks mixed with his personality. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. And I like the part that they showed us, like the future, where
Yeah.
our favorite little child actress
Yeah,
is back.
of
I was
course.
like,
That little
hey, love
cutie.
this girl.
Yeah.
She is so adorable. But I like how the daughter, like, he's just as childish
Yeah.
with his daughter too.
Yeah.
And does she have powers?
So I think I see someone saying, but I don't know where they noticed that she had powers.
When he was thundering and raining,
Yeah.
or he made it start raining or get windy or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like when she threw herself on the ground, she's the one that was controlling like the thunder and the. No, I'm like,
Yeah.
was that like? I'm like, is it just him?
I mean, she's half.
Or the minute she.
Yeah, she's half. First of all, I didn't even expect him to still, because he chose to come back. I didn't think he was still going to be kind of a Mugi in a way.
But then
like,
I thought
you know?
to myself, this is a human body he's in though. So technically, Yoon-gap's body was full human, so she
Yeah.
can't be like half. But for some reason, I thought she might have had a power in that moment. I was like,
Yeah.
is it her doing that too?
But the funniest part was when they all come out because the chief eunuch is there.
Yeah.
And she even called him grilled abalone. He's like, look at that. Even his daughter calls me that.
But you know, he loves it.
He does.
loves it deep down.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved the guards. Oh, the guard is hot. I was like, God damn.
One of them.
Yes, the one with the beard.
Yes.
Well, the other one does he have a beard too?
The other, you know what? Two of the guards look alike, but I feel like the one that.
You know who the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Another part, speaking of like how they look or whatever. So aside the king from his beat face when he's possessed, though, didn't he look amazing the first time in his travel fit?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. The travel fits are yeah.
With the little feather and the hat. And I was like, why is the king looking so hot? Like,
No, the fit that I loved is when he was just going through the village with the glasses.
Oh,
that was so cute. And then Yook had his own pair. It's like, yeah, Yuri made me one too.
And I love how she went from like eyeglasses to sunglasses.
Yeah.
I was like, isn't he chic? But the king
They call it colored glasses.
Yeah. The king, though, his fit
That was
fitting.
so cute.
I was like, okay, sir.
With the
All
glass little
beige,
thing.
with the beads,
Yeah.
the gold.
No,
I
that was
like,
that
go
was
off,
a
king.
whole look. Yeah.
Nah, that was a whole look. But the travel fit, like, I was not expecting that. I was like, God damn, he looks hot on
One
that
of the
horse.
sweetest scenes about them, like, oh, I loved when Gang Chul freaked out on Yuri because he was like, "Where's your spirit ward?" And
Yes.
and she said, "I gave it to the eldest prince because I no longer need it." And he's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You're my spirit ward."
I
That
know.
was so cute. I was like, stop.
I know. Like, their romance was so adorable. Like, after the first kiss,
Yeah.
and he's lying down and his feet are kicking, and he's
Yeah.
just so...
And then the mom was in the room, and she's like, "What the hell's wrong with
What's
you?"
wrong with you? The man was walking around smiling and blushing. That
Yeah.
was so adorable. But the stone part, when she first gets her stone back, though,
Yeah.
and he tries to kiss her, and then he gets like repelled,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh, I could put it aside for a second."
Yeah.
Like, put it aside for what?
Yeah.
And she's like, "I didn't initiate anything," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl,
She's too
kiss
cute.
that man."
Yeah, she's too cute.
She's like, "Let me put it aside because I'm about to get this kiss regardless."
And then towards the end, this scene made me bawl my eyes out when the king finally apologizes to
The entire village.
Oh my God, that broke me.
That was so.
That was so touching. Like the whole king
just
bowed down
crying
and crying
on his knees,
on
and
his
it's
knees.
like.
Yeah,
And then the shadow, the soldier,
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe like
a few words.
I just needed to hear those words,
Yeah,
and it eased his heart. Like,
and all of them.
What a
they
moving
just
scene.
all. Oh, it was so moving.
they could finally just be at peace, and they all started like walking away, and I was
Oh,
just like, "Oh
that
my
made
God."
me cry. I was
But
like,
but at the end of that scene, I was like, "But where's the grandma? Where's the grandma?" So I'm glad they
Oh,
didn't leave
yeah.
us hanging, because remember,
Yes.
she was also trapped in the
Shadow,
shadow.
yeah.
So I was like, where is she? So when she finally did appear, because, you know, it was hurting Yuri that her grandma never came to her in her dreams and never visited her.
And remember, Yuri can see.
Exactly.
So
So
she's
she's
like,
like, how come she hasn't come to see me? So she's taking it personal, you know,
Yeah.
until she realized she's been trapped this entire time. But she had to see her baby before she left for good. And I
Yeah.
was like, thank God they cleaned that up, because I was like, that,
even that we got closure.
like Yuri would not have had closure, and it would have been like, but where's she at?
yeah,
Right.
And I don't think
she wasn't
stopped.
standing with the village people, because that was not her moment. She didn't need to heal from that. That
Exactly.
wasn't her ceremony,
Yeah.
right? So she held back, and she found Yuri in her own time. So I thought that was very touching that they wrapped that
Yeah.
up really nicely for us.
Yeah, I don't think I think she would continue to look for her grandma. had she not come to her, to be honest. Like, I don't think she would ever be really able to rest,
Exactly.
you know? So, yeah, I'm glad.
I'm so glad. I mean, it was just such a fun show.
It literally...
I'm trying to think of, like, was there even any part of it that I was, like, disappointed
literally
in?
Nothing.
And I always have something to say. I'm like, it wasn't perfect.
It literally gave us everything from comedy to romance to fantasy, horror. Like, it literally gave us everything in such a just beautiful way and cute way. Like, it was just never boring.
It wasn't. The romance was hitting. I believe them as a couple.
I did.
Like, the chemistry.
And you know why the chemistry? So I realized apparently they've been good friends for 15 years. Makes sense.
You go.
That makes sense why their chemistry is so good.
There you go. It's just, there was just something very, like, cute and easy about it.
Yes.
Like, and it didn't overtake the story.
Exactly.
It was going along
and
at the same time. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, let's just focus on the romance for a little bit and leave the story hanging. I just felt like it was from beginning to end, perfectly. Everything was equally, you know? Yeah.
Like, from the thrilling, like, everything. And like I said, it's actually it's surprising, to be honest, because I did not think I was going to enjoy it this much.
No. Like, I just love when it's consistent. From beginning to end, it was consistent. And that's what made it so enjoyable.
But this is literally one of my top shows of 2025 so far. It really is. Because of the fact that it was so surprisingly good. Like,
and it didn't, like, just, like, you know, enter some weird storyline towards the end. No, it stayed consistent. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's going to be, like, on my top 10 list for this year because I've just seen so many.
Are you crazy?
Good
it's
ones.
Definitely in my top. It's going to be in my top 10.
It's only June. You don't know what is in store.
Yeah, but still, like, to give us everything and the way they did and hit everything and it was amazing. Yeah. I don't think that's really hard to do. And 16 episodes. Yeah.
True. I mean, I think it is enjoyable, very much so. I really did like it. And I do think it is good. It's just, I can't say it's one of my best ones because, like, do you think it's, like, it's good because I think it's binge worthy, right? Like, I'll tell anybody to watch it. Like, it's just, it's got everything. You're going to be fully satisfied. But here's the thing. For me, as good as it was, it's not, like, rewatchable for me. Is it rewatchable for you?
100% it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Like 6 months down the line, maybe even next year, you could literally watch the whole thing again?
Yeah, because that's how entertained I was. Like, the fact that there is no boring episode, that would be an easy rewatch, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, for me.
I don't know. For me, it's not a rewatchable drama. I think it's a one and done.
To be honest, I don't rewatch many dramas. To be fair, I don't, you know? So, yeah, I'm not one of those, like, people. Like,
I have some, like, if it's, like, you know, like, some of them become, like, comfort watches or, like, they're so emotionally deep, like, the story is just, you know, really, like, feelings driven, I can rewatch. But I just feel like this was really entertaining. It was well done. Once you figure out, like, the really, you know, the sad story, how the shadow came to be, like, for me, it doesn't have a rewatchable quality. But it's definitely like a one and done situation.
Again, it was a perfect drama. It gave everything, and they did everything well. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 for me.
I think it was a 10-10 too. Yeah, honestly, it was highly enjoyable.
It was.
I'm not mad at it at all.
And if you guys enjoyed Bona and want to see her in something else a bit different, she's in Pyramid Game, and that's like a high school bully type of situation. If you're into that. She's also in 2125. And if you just like fantasy and historicals, I would say give Alchemy of Souls a try if you haven't already. But yeah.
I did really like Pyramid Games. I think she's fabulous in everything that I've seen her. I love her.
She's one of my faves. Like so far, everything I've seen her in, she's absolutely killed it.
And she's in that other historical one too with I'm going to say Uduwan.
Uduwan, yes.
Yeah.
Joseon, attorney?
Yes.
Of morality?
Yeah. So that one was really good.
I'm definitely going to check that one out. I love them both, so yeah.
Well, you guys know I'm obsessed with Kim Ji-hoon, so if you enjoyed him, especially when he was playing the evil version of the king and he was possessed, you have to watch Flower of Evil and Death's Game. And he's also actually in this rom-com. He's not the male lead, but he is in Love to Hate You.
I was gonna ask you, has he ever done any rom-coms?
He plays like this talent manager. I haven't seen him like play the male lead in a rom-com.
Oh, okay.
But I have seen him like kind of be like the second lead. Like he's like the talent manager for the male lead in like Love to Hate You.
Okay.
So it's cute. It's fun. And he has his own little storyline because he kind of has like, he has his own little relationship happening on the side. So.
Oh, okay.
Really adorable. Really good.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Sung-jae's work, to be honest. I don't think she's had any break. I think this might be his first.
This is the first time that I've seen him in like a lead.
Yeah.
But I do remember he had like a side, like a supporting role in Goblin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a supporting role in Goblin, but I think this is the first time that I've seen him in a lead. But there is this other show that he's in. I think it's called Golden Spoon or Silver Spoon. I can't forget. It's on Disney Plus, but it's been on my watch list for forever. So I think I'm going to definitely check it out because I love discovering new leads and then kind of doing a little deep dive.
Yeah, me too. Same.
Into all their dramas, right?
I'm definitely going to watch Joseon Attorney next. Who is I'm going to tell you, my SOS is, I'm going to give it to the king. Just because.
He's fine.
He's fine. And it was just so refreshing to see the king that he was. Like,
yes.
The way he loved his wife, the way he loved his son, the way he loved his people. Mm-hmm. That was just so refreshing to me. And he was just so humble, and just that man stayed with tears in his eyes. Like
he really did.
He was very open to being vulnerable, like showing emotions, and I respected that so much. So yeah, I'm giving it to the king.
Giving it to the king?
Yeah.
I have to give it to Gang Chol.
Yeah.
He just made it for me. Like, he was like the comedic, like moments that we needed. Like, he provided that for us. I love the way that his relationship developed with Yuri. I just liked his goofy, serious, but like, everything about his personality. Yeah. It really did it for me. So I'd have to give it to you.
Yeah, honestly, with
Gang
this
Chol
one,
was my
really
fave.
hard to pick one, but yeah, because they all did a phenomenal job. So
they really did.
Each and every one. I love the entire cast. From the guards to the chief eunuch. Like, I literally
did not like the blind
Okay, not the blind shaman, obviously. But majority of the characters I love. The supporting characters were amazing.
Right? Down to, like, even though she only had, like, maybe, like, 2 scenes that she was in, like, the water ghost. Yeah. She nailed her part.
She did.
Like, I want to hang around some more. Like, that was so cute. Unexpected.
And so cute. Exactly. So, like we always say, the supporting cast really
It was a great ensemble. It really was.
I loved it.
I loved it too. Let us know what you guys thought of The Haunted Palace in the comments. Join us next week. Next week, we are doing a full series review of Mercy
for None.
It's going to be a stacked cast.
I cannot wait.
Expect a lot of like fangirling because, girl,
that cast is insane.
Girl.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of good things, so I am excited to watch.
I love a good action, revenge, and
it's on Netflix, by the way. So
it's on Netflix. But yeah, that's going to be our full series review coming at you next week. Hope everybody has a fabulous week ahead. Bye.
Bye.